He's worked on Rihanna's eagerly awaited reggae-inspired album, Hi, I'm Debbie. Big things delivered, but even bigger things expected from Stephen McGregor. Freddie's son delivering a defense of so-called trap dancehall in a sit-down this week with ER.
Careful who you drink and who you smoke from. Them will try to kill you on a joke from. That's why me not take talk from no one.
I think my first real breakout was maybe when I was about 15 with like the Red Bull and Guineas. And I went on to the Billboard with my father's song, What Them I Do.
Where them I do, where them I try.
Stephen McGregor in the early 2000s keeping the ball rolling with a string of hot singles and rhythms. The boy wonder of bad beats, bridging family pedigree with a bubbling dancehall and rap scene.
Like you mentioned, I come from a musical like legacy background too, so I understand like the older part of like where the music is coming from, but I also still in my 20s, so born in the 90s, so my influences was still hip hop and like all our Timbaland was doing and Neptunes and all that. So I think I kind of merged all of that.
Musically restless then and now.
I always just never wanted to be in a box. Hence like why I'm doing so much things overseas now and like that kind of thing. I just feel like creativity on a whole shouldn't be like boxed in like that. Like I'm from Jamaica, which so I'll always present that kind of factor into my music, but I don't think that because I'm from here I should only be doing 90 BPM sounding music.
His current output anything but. The genius, as he was called, relieving his creative itch by jumping ship.
At a point I started to feel like I hit a ceiling here, in a way. It's funny, I have the same conversation with Dave Kelly recently, and he said the same exact thing. But like, I started to hit a ceiling here and I still wanted to explore like different creative avenues. Like, because when I was here I was still doing one and two things overseas, like I did like the Nelly Furtado thing while I was here and like different things like that. But just like Jamaica, like a person come from overseas, them can just come here for a week and end up with the biggest rhythm. So you kind of forget in the system there and get in the groove of things and get to meet people. And
helped by being, let's be frank, not exactly a nobody.
Thankfully for me, things happen faster for me than I think how most people go overseas to explore stuff. But most important for me, I think, is to go over there, get some of that knowledge and the work side of it and business side of it, and then apply it to what we're doing here. So that's part of my mission right now, to kind of apply that business model to here to kind of help propel our culture over there. And I think that's one of the only things we're missing here, because I don't think the creativity or the music or any of that is an issue. We just need that the industry structure. And I think a lot of us now are over there and getting to understand that, like a couple Jamaican people, well, like no, like myself, Super Dupes, Russian over there, like a bunch of us doing it, and we have a better understanding now how to apply it to what we're doing here, and we can leverage it from there. Because here, I think most of us already just master the creative side of it, being in the studio, making the tracks, voicing the songs. But I think if you check the real success of the songs, it's above just making the music. Kind of like what Robert then was talking about with Shaggy and Sean Paul and all of that. It was more than just a bad song and a bad rhythm. And we need that structure, we need management, and we need like marketing and all of that when it regards to labels and all of that too. So I think now we kind of get the idea of like that. Like you see, perfect example like Shensea's situation right now with Interscope to the venture with Russian situation and like that kind of way. So it's a new model for like with local artists where we can use that to leverage things now.
Stephen with a house and studio in LA. Where else? It's the hub of the West Coast music business.
Everybody know now like Rihanna working on her project and that have a lot of influences from here. But like even some of the people outside of that are working, I try like put the different things in there so that it can come back to us. Like I said, it's part of like the mission to kind of help, because we have so much talent here and things. So and I don't want to be the only person out there doing it. So consciously making an effort like that to just push the envelope there. But yeah, but on a regular day-to-day, it's just like a mix of different artists, different sessions, songwriting sessions, and some more directly with the artists.
Just did a song with John Legend, a Maroon 5 track about to be released, exploring some Latin stuff.
Just a bunch of different things, just trying to just inject the sound into all of the different places and just like, again, just expand on the creativity.
All right, no. All I wanna like we can go drop down. Used to smile with people, but I'ma stop now.
Reggaeton and Afrobeats at the center of a social media firestorm over the decline of dancehall.
They have the same thing I'm talking about now. They have the business structure and the business model. So I don't think it's necessarily the music. Like, I'll say a lot of arguments, some people say maybe the music is better or anything like that. But I think they just have a structure, a system. Like, I'm doing a lot of work with Latin people, and same thing, they understand like structure-wise and how to navigate through the business side of it. And I think that's the only part that they don't get from our industry clearly. Like you said, people move on to who they can do good business with and do easier business with. But I don't think the music is ever going to be an issue, like, because anywhere in the world you go, dancehall and reggae music and our culture is still one of the main things. It's just like, it just don't look like it translates all the time, because we're seeing the headlines like Afrobeat to replace dancehall and all of the crazy headlines.
Opinion divided over the no longer new sound originating from Western Jamaica, a non-starter anywhere but here, or poised to take off. Just give it time.
Me personally, I'm like 50-50 on that. Like, I'm kind of on the fence, because at the same time, we have a lot of hits that represent our culture that don't necessarily sound like dancehall per se. Like Flex by Cabra is like a massive song for our culture. That's an R&B rhythm. Like Shaggy, It Wasn't Me, perhaps to be one of the biggest songs for our culture ever. Like, there's, from a musical production standpoint, there's not a dancehall or reggae element in that. The culture that represents on it is vocal. Some of it is some of the music for sure, and how some of the music sounds. But I think a big part that people missing is that when we compare like the 90s to now, the infrastructure was a lot different. We had more, for one, there was more funding going into the business. We
Legal
had
representation.
Yeah, we had VP and Greensleeves and all these people. All of the artists that you mentioned were signed to labels at the time or had some kind of push like that. When one of the random man them from Mobe, Squash or somebody just put him song on YouTube, that's just him putting out him song. Because we're coming from a time where the music was always like that. So it's hard to compare it now to now where it's YouTube views and whatever. So we can't expect like just the diaspora alone to propel it to the next level when every other genre has that support. Afrobeat, like I just working with Afrobeat the other day, and he's signed to the same publishing company as I am. And we're Warner Chapter now, and like the same thing. So him have a big song like that, but it wasn't just because him just put out the song on YouTube and it just magically blew up. So I think a lot of that we don't realize that we had different representation that time. So I think that is a big part of why some of the music not translating now.
But you need people with the right attitude, that people want to work with you, they want to commit money to you, they want a long-term relationship with you.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's obvious, like all of the people who are doing any kind of numbers overseas now, like whether it be Protege, Chronix, Coffee, all of these people have teams of people who are working that. So it's not just like, it's just an anomaly, then just put out a song. Coffee never just drop Toast and it just suddenly become the biggest song out of nowhere. Like, people have to look into that kind of thing. And like all of the greats that we mentioned, Shaggy, Sean Paul, Shabba Ranks, all these people had structure and systems of people who were taking things to the Omi, had specialists. Like, so none of the successes were random.
And here's no random defense. Just 29, McGregor perhaps with a natural affinity for the new kids on the block. The current soundtrack of younger dancehall fans, also an example of the kind of fusion with hip-hop he was drawn to in his teens.
I just think that everybody have to play their part with trying to ensure that we keep the culture still active within anything that we're doing. So it's not, I don't think that necessarily means making an old school sounding rhythm. I think it's just like whatever, whether it's the song, the delivery or the writing of the songs or whatever, just keep injecting different parts of the culture there to keep it relevant, I think. One good point, I think that the success of anything changes the argument. Because same thing, like when Shabba or Supercat and all of these people were just coming out, I'm sure to probably my grandparents that used to sound like noise to them. But then it went on to become successful. Even my son, like when I did just start out, the whole industry didn't want to kill me, and like Stephen only make hip hop, him not make real dance or whatever. But thankfully I got to a next place where some of that became successful. Then it's kind of like easy pressure, like, oh well, Stephen good now because he did this and whatever. So I think that is the same thing happening here now. Like everybody complaining about the trap dancehall sound and all that. But I think if that goes on to become a success in any way, it will change the conversation, and then we'll own it and be like, yeah, this is our music. And like, so I feel like it's a lot of like in between in there, and like it's, again it come back to preferential stuff and like some of the emotional aspects in it too, the nostalgia and all of that.
But you're cool with the trap beats. You like them. Actually, you feel that maybe you were one of the people who were like the godfathers of the trap beat sound in Jamaica.
I mean, I like enough of the music that coming out now. I don't love
Is it
some of them,
traceable
but
to you?
some of it sound like what I started for sure. But I'm not owning the sound either, because my thing came from different influences and all that. So, but like I said, I feel like people can experiment, and there's no use in trying to fight like that movement. You can't tell the 10,000 youth them are listening to YouTube every day that what them listening to don't sound good. So I feel like that argument shouldn't even be there. It's like everybody should just make the music that they're making, and we just try to figure out a way to make it coexist, and we just push it from there.
ER's conversation with Stephen McGregor continues next Friday.